So Brandon Lee and Powers Boothe team up to take down an international organized crime war in this martial arts packed action flick, Rapid Fire. When Italian mob boss Tony Serrano visits his drug trafficking supplier Kim In Tao in Thailand, the two strike off a bitter antagonism when Serrano wants to take a bigger bite out of Tao's organization. Meanwhile in Los Angeles, college student Jake Lowe is lured into attending a Chinese pro-democracy party, a cause his father died trying to champion in Tiananmen Square, and wants nothing to do with anymore. However, Serrano pays a visit to activist benefactor and Tao's business partner Chang, intent on cutting him out of Tao's profits by murdering him, which is entirely witnessed by Jake. After fighting to escape with his life, Jake is taken in by the FBI for witness protection in Chicago, but is quickly betrayed and framed for murder as they try to kill him. The twisted web of corruption with Special Agent Stewart on down leads to Lieutenant Mace Ryan rescuing Jake in order to use him to take down Tao. Along with Detective Carla Withers, Ryan's team uses all means at their disposal to get the leverage they need by roping in Stewart to wear a wire while walking Jake into Serrano. Yet all things go awry when the connection to Stewart's wire is lost, and Serrano's suspicions lead to Stewart's murder. All hell breaks loose with the police under fire, and Jake fighting for his life. Yet when the dust clears, Jake brings a bloody Serrano into Lieutenant Ryan's custody. However, taking down Tao proves far harder, as Serrano is killed while behind bars, and Ryan's bust is outfoxed. With Ryan nearly ruined, Jake Lowe comes back to help infiltrate and crack Tao's organization through dire and dangerous circumstances. So Rapid Fire was released to United States cinemas on August 21st, 1992, which is a week after what its original press release date is August 14th. It was released in a pretty interesting month altogether. There were shadow films such as Raising Cain, Single White Female, Pet Sematary 2, Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, and the year's Oscar-winning film Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. And the film's production budget has never been officially released in any type of capacity, but it's been estimated around $10 million. It grossed about $14.4 million at the box office, so not a runaway success for 20th Century Fox, but still a pretty decent hit on its own right. And this was given to director Dwight H. Little after he had done a really good success with a Steven Seagal film Marked for Death before this, and of course directed Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers, and teamed up again with the screenwriter from that, Alan B. McElroy, who would go on to do some different types of things. He would develop the HBO Spawn series and write the Spawn live action film, as well as write the scripts for like Ballistic X vs. Sever and Wrong Turn, so things here and there in that regard, but really good team. I think they really gelled very well. They did a good job on Halloween 4. Really kind of did want to continue working together on different projects that didn't end up going anywhere, but to link back up on this thing, I think they did a really good job. And Dwight H. Little also re-teams with his cinematographer from Marked for Death, Rick Wade, who had also shot like 48 Hours, Red Dawn, Cobra, Out for Justice. Really one of the best action cinematographers that was going at the time. Completely seasoned. Really aids this film so well to just have a team that knows each other very well. The writer and director and the cinematographer all know each other very much, like a second-hand type of thing. So it makes it very easy to work. But you also see so many of the good qualities having that sort of relationship brings into it, and also having the seasoned quality of that cinematographer adding to so many things in this film. It's not as like neon and stylish as like Cobra is or something else like that, but it's got a really solid handle on all the different qualities you need to photograph the film in a very honest type of way. Just like, I like these early 90s action films that had a little bit of a grit to them. Grounded sensibilities, didn't get too over the top in certain places, but still maintained a weight in the terms of the peril, the stakes of the entire story. A certain quality of the film that still had a little bit of a texture to how it was photographed. And so I really like the entire quality that Rick Wade brings the entire film, tied in with the entire thing where Dwight H. Little is just this really solid director. See all the stuff he was doing at the time, it's like he's a very solid sort of textbook director. Like he knows exactly how to construct things exactly the right way with the story, the characters, the drama, the action, all the type of stuff. He knows exactly how to put it together and moves it along in such a great, solid pace. These very well-paced films, really well executed type of stuff. It always takes time to give a little extra with the actors. Also kind of like punch up a little extra flair on certain things. Like knows how to kind of work with the concept a little bit, kind of add a little extra on top of it. And Rick Waite adds in that whole thing with his style, get a little extra things. I like this entire montage is kind of like a little bit past the middle of the film there. We got this sex scene going on between Brandon Lee and Kate Hodge's characters. You got this kind of thing going on, juxtaposed like Nick Mancuso's character gets killed in the prison, and Boothe character of Mace Ryan, his entire investigation, entire sting on the bad guys goes down the drain. So it's like this interesting juxtaposition, this great kind of like sensuous sex scene, but you got all the things where guys getting killed and the investigation's going downhill. It's nice way to kind of have a little extra character the entire film, a little extra personality in that regard. You could handle it as kind of like a dry A, B, C, B, D kind of beat entire film, kind of going off in that way, but it kind of like bleeds over a little of the 80s montage type of stuff the entire film, and it has a little extra something on top of it. It's a really good type of quality in this entire film, headed up by a little here. He just gets a certain quality. It's like, he wasn't like the John McTiernan at the time or anything like that, but he put together some really nice films a lot of people really remember from the time that are entertaining. They're really solidly put together stuff. It's like, you see his name, it's like, that's kind of cool. He's still working today. He's still doing some TV stuff and all these different things. He's still working very regularly and put together some nice films back in the day. Adding to the flair and style of this entire film is the score from composer Christopher Young, who had been mainly known for a lot of horror scores. He'd done like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Hellraiser 1 and 2, and really he'd done some stuff with Scott Derrickson with like Sinister and Deliver Us from Evil, but the man's got 130 credits to his name, so he's done a wide range of different things. I just like this entire like rock sax-driven music he's got going on in the film. It's very punchy. It drives all the action in the entire film. I love the entire blues feel you get into Chicago with. Also, you kind of wish if he had more budget and kind of a little bit more freedom to do certain things, he would have done a lot more orchestral stuff the entire film. Gets a little work in the entire thing where he's doing a lot more the Asian type of flavors the entire score here with a lot more acoustic type of stuff. But he used a lot of like electronic beats and stuff like that, the entire score, a little bit of synth here and there, but I think the thing just has a lot of character and personality, which is something that's kind of like sorely lacking from a lot of like action films that did. They're kind of like a lot of wallpaper scores in a certain way. Look at the stuff from back in the day. Back when this was happening, it's like you got a lot of like very specific character to how action films sounded. You could go back to any of these things, whether it was Michael Kamen or Basil Posadoris or whoever the hell was doing, like Jerry Goldsmith. Everyone just had a very specific identity for the film to convey in the score, and that just rings out so very well in this entire film. This entire thing is very much available on digital platforms. Get it up on iTunes for about $10. Really worth getting it. I think it's a really solid piece of work from him. Really aids the film in such a great type of way overall. But the cast you get in this whole film, it's like when I started watching this thing, it's like, god damn, this cast is really, really goddamn good. And of course you gotta start with Brandon Lee here as the star portraying Jake Lowe here. Where again, we've got so many different things to say about Brandon Lee in his short life and his short career, but he did Showdown Little Tokyo before this. I was going to do The Crow right after this, so it's a very interesting time in his career where they were really pushing this thing in the marketing and all the different things, or just like pushing it so much like he was going to be the action star of the 90s and kind of pushing him with quotes on the different TV spots or whatnot, saying it's just as intense and fantastic as his father Bruce Lee, and little cheeky things like Move Over Seagull and Van Damme and stuff like that, where definitely in terms of like acting qualities, I definitely think that Brandon Lee did surpass those guys. In terms of his technique, all these different things he has in terms of like his martial arts stuff, he's just on the same level. I think in so many different cases because he had such a great background with all the stuff he was trained by his own father and working with so many people that were proteges of him and people, stuff like that, best students he had, really brought him along in so many different things, being also encouraged by Chuck Norris and stuff like that over his young career. All these different things kind of build up, and he did such a great thing. Just in this film alone, it's like you saw a Showdown in Little Tokyo. It was kind of hacked to bits to a certain way. So you saw an inkling of what he could do, but it didn't quite get as much of a showcase for everything he could do. And Rapid Fire very much shows the way he can be a charming leading man. He has the charisma. He has all the different qualities to make him a relatable, likable protagonist that has a little extra dimension to him. I like the entire thing they add in. They give a little bit of a cultural sort of awareness, a little cultural context for him, that he was there at the Tiananmen Square massacre, his father got killed, And he's got all these little things building up in his background, all that type of thing leading up to where he is in the film now. And dealing with that sort of thing, just give him a little bit of emotional base. Give the character an emotional base to work with, to give him a little extra depth to him, a little extra dimension overall, just kind of give Brandon Lee a little something to work with in certain scenes to give him a little bit of a conviction or sort of an adversarial quality against certain characters or certain other things. He's got a frustration because the government won't release the files about his father and get all these different things to really kind of get the heart of what happened there and just kind of move on from it. And there's actually a deleted scene from that subplot in the entire film where there's a little bit of footage in a TV spot and a couple little stills that were released. So it's like he was kind of like going into the Veterans Affairs office and kind of rattling the cages of people and gets a little bit of a tussle or a fight or whatnot. That's kind of like his introduction scene originally, but they kind of cut it for whatever reason. Maybe a few other things kind of hit the cutting room floor in that regard, but Brandon Lee just added so much to the entire thing that if you had someone who could do the action, but not so much the acting, it'd really be lopsided. It wouldn't come to life. Because he has a natural dimension about what he does, what he brings, the brightness he brings onto the screen. It adds so much to this character of Jake Lowe here, and the physicality he has just blows it completely through the roof. Everything he brings to the entire film is just aces to me. Everything he has, he works everyone so well. He has all the qualities you want to just market around him to make him an absolute positive star that we know he possibly could have been. And of course, I just love having Powers Boothe in this whole film, where you're not used to seeing him playing a good guy. He's usually so good at playing a heavy because you're going after this doing Tombstone and Sudden Death, and be routine with Raymond J. Barry in Sudden Death, where he co-stars in this film as well. So that's kind of a great little extra added thing here. But he's so good as Lieutenant Mace Ryan, and I like the fact that his quality elevates this role so much because I can see a very nondescript actor just making a very bland performance, but he elevates so much for what's on the page. He brings it up further because he's such a very talented actor. He has that screen presence, that kind of swagger and charisma in the entire thing. You can feel the seasoned cop texture all over his performance. I like the fact that he's this very driven cop. There's like he's almost willing to have a little bit of fucking damage go off, a little kind of collateral periphery damage going off when you got the entire thing at the restaurant completely goes wrong, everything's getting shot up like living hell, gets a little insane and crazy in that regard, but it's like he's kind of like whatever it takes. So it takes something that could feel kind of cliche, but he performs it in such a way that you feel the character and his conviction in the entire thing, what he's been kind of like wearing at the bit, chewing at the bit for so long, getting worn out, dealing with this guy Tao and all these different things, trying to crack this guy with everything possible, and he's ruined the late ways. He's willing to put it all on the line just to get this guy locked up somewhere. So I like that quality, and again, when things kind of go right down the slope and everything, and he's there talking with Kate Hodge's character Carl Withers in the entire apartment, you just feel that quality of this entire character, what he's adding into the depth and the layers of it, when he's talking about like everything's gone completely wrong, I'm gonna be out walking a beat, I'm completely ruined in a certain way. He gets that frustration and type of traction in the entire story, and when things go up on the third act and stuff like that, you start feeling what he's doing in the entire film. You feel that the momentum of his character, the shifts he has in the entire film. He was such a fantastic actor, awesome type of stuff. I can't imagine anything not being awesome. What Powers Boothe did throughout his entire career. Everything I've seen him in, absolute gold. Same with Raymond J. Barry. I just love this guy. He's such a great character actor. Great type of stuff. He, again, show up again in Sudden Death, but he had a recurring role in The X-Files. He did such great work on Justified with Timothy Oliphant. Everything I see him in, fantastic. He can play good guys, play bad guys, can play everything in the middle with all the different layers and depth and contentious qualities, everything he can do. And it's so effortless to him. He's so very good at doing not a lot. He can just dial it in kind of soft and subtle in certain places, but still deliver something that has a weight to it. Such a great quality to it. And I liked so much that you also got another Dwight H. Little reteam with him and Basil Wallace, who had worked on Marked for Death. He was Screwface, and also go on to be Riverman in Return of the Living Dead 3, so he gets to show up as an FBI agent early in the film. And I like Kate Hodge. She was great in Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Before she gets to end up end up in The Hidden too, which we want to talk about in this entire thing. But I think she has such a great quality. She's got such a great thing with Carla Withers here, this other Chicago cop teamed up with freaking Mace Ryan. And she's got this toughness, but she's got charm. She rides the entire line just right, where she's told where she needs to be as a cop. Have that conviction when she's introduced the entire film and she's going of the entire apartment to kind of confront the whole thing with the FBI agents and Jake Lowe, and then she drops into the middle of the entire action sequence. And then after she gets pulled the gun on by Jake and all these other things happen in the standoff, and then she just gut punches him when she meets him again. It's like it's a nice quality for the character. She's not a pushover. She's a very solid cop. She's very convincing in the entire role completely. All the different qualities she brings to it, but she also has an engaging quality. I like that she has this sort of sense of honesty and empathy with her that makes her very much connect with Jake Lowe later in the film, so they kind of have a little bit of a softness, a little warmth between them, get an entire sex scene and stuff like that, build the relationship further. Stuff like that. So it's like she fits in the role absolutely perfectly. She's perfectly cast. Doesn't miss a beat in the entire film. She hits all the entertaining beats, all the interesting things she needs in the story. I like the entire relationship between her and Powers Boothe in the entire film, where she's kind of back and forth a little bit, kind of sparring a little bit on certain things, but they got a great chemistry overall in the entire thing. But you get into the bad guys in their film, and Nick and Mancuso. It's like, it's the entire thing with the villains in this film is like they're kind of unassuming. If you ever seen them before, they're kind of like regular character actors. You never really quite saw them do anything quite like this. So it's kind of trepidation. I wasn't quite expecting much, but it's like Nick Mancuso throws himself completely into the role of Tony Serrano here. He's shooting it up in some places. He's kind of playing the regular sort of Italian mob boss type of thing, but he's having a good time doing it and playing it up not too much, but just enough. He's entertaining. He's got the charisma, the swagger type of stuff, so he's kind of good by throwing the ruthless, relentless type of qualities around, being very vicious in certain places, but still maintaining an entertaining performance. I like what he does so much in the entire film. It's like, it really impressed me. And Tai Ma's Tao. Another guy's kind of, it looks a little unassuming. Wouldn't really peg him for being a really good villain, but it's like, he's got this kind of great, dangerous, cutting quality. He's a little bit more meticulous than Serrano is. He's kind of like plotting things out, taking his time, being very strategic what he's doing. Very clever type of villain in a certain way. Well, Serrano's a little bit more kind of out front, kind of being boisterous a little bit more. Tao's a little bit more kind of like playing the chess game to a certain degree. And I like so much that, like, again, these guys add so much color to the entire film. If you had other actors come in, they didn't kind of like elevate it. They didn't bring something a little bit more scene-chewing to a certain degree. They would just kind of be kind of flat characters. But you need some entertaining villains. You need people to kind of like lean into the performances. Get a little something extra on top of things, just kind of like bring a little bit more vibrance out in the performance. They really, really do that. I like so much that Tai Ma, he has the entire thing where he shows off his martial arts technique, his prowess in the entire thing. First, the beginning with the staff, and then you bookmark it at the end on the train tracks going up against Jake Lowe in the climax. Very smart type of things. It's so much, again, like the screenplay, just hits these beats with the characters, sets up, pays things off, gets things going in certain ways. Like, it doesn't kind of forget anything, and it leaves things off. It just like sets up certain character traits, pays them off later on, and has all the things come around in the circle. Very smart type of things. It's just like, they're really good characters, and just like cast them extremely well. Solid actors who knew exactly what more to bring into the entire thing, to punch the characters up a little bit more, give them a certain life to them, little extra layers to them here and there, but just made them entertaining, make them memorable, and have all this great chemistry. Everyone works off each other so very well in this whole thing. Very well directed, extremely well cast, which just kind of pulls a lot of the weight off the director to a certain degree, but still brings everything together with the right tones, moving in the right directions and the right pace, the right flow of everything. Perfect. I think everything in the casting, this whole film, the acting of this thing is just really goddamn perfect. And another thing that's absolutely perfect in this entire film is all the action. And all of the martial arts stuff was choreographed by Brandon Lee and his good friend Jeff Amato, who's like the biggest name in the field of fight choreography. This guy's worked with John Carpenter, Michael Mann. He's worked on Lethal Weapon and freaking Born Supremacy, Born Ultimatum. He's worked on like Roadhouse. And you look up a goddamn action film from the last 40 years, there's a good chance this guy's worked on it. Which means he's one of the absolute best in the field. And this film absolutely goddamn proves it. And Brandon Lee trained in Wing Chun, Muay Thai, and his father's discipline of Jeet Kune Do. And there's certain points in the time when that does look like his father in this film. The way he moves, the snappy way he moves his arms, stuff like that, the body language. It does kind of evoke that so much. But it's like the film, it just has this stunningly dynamic, just like fast-paced action. Like the title of the film is Rapid Fire. And that's what the film delivers. Rapid fire action. That's just incredible. Just like this stuff holds up so very well. Because it's all physical, practical stuff. There's not a visual effect in the entire film. A couple of stunt people. There's tons of stunt people in this entire film. It's insane how many stunt people are on this film. It's out of control. But Brandon Lee did all his own fight stuff. Everything that's fight choreography is him on screen doing it himself. Because he said he didn't want to have anyone else try to emulate his style. He didn't want anyone else trying to do that. But if he's running on a fucking motorcycle through a glass window or something like that, let the stunt guy deal with it. That's his profession. But the thing going in with the martial arts, all that type of stuff, it's expert. It's all expertly choreographed. Just like there's so many moments where there's like absolutely inspired stuff. Snappy editing and just all the wide angles just work so well. Just one is doing the choreography, but knowing how to photograph it is the other thing. If you get all the photography wrong, you edit it all the wrong way, it looks like absolute crap. But Dwight Schlittle and the cinematographer, the editor, all those people work in tandem with him after he's gone off and he's choreographed the whole thing. He's even shot it on videotape just so they have a wide spectrum, single shot take of what exactly they're doing for the thing and integrate it into the environments, figure out how they're going to photograph it, how they're going to edit it, all these different things. So it's like, it's so fantastically done because everything's so sharp, so quick. All the athleticism he shows off in the film is awesome. All this type of stuff. I love the whole thing when he gets jumped by the FBI agents in the safe house and he's running down and he's dodging and weaving stuff. He flips up into this goddamn closet or whatnot. It's like all these little things just like add so much new spice into the film. A lot of stuff that you just weren't quite getting. You're just starting to get that in the American markets. Starting to get that. They already had that stuff going on in Hong Kong so much, but starting to add that just real slick, intense type of martial arts athleticism into films right now in the American market is so much a great thing to see that whole thing. And again, amazing type of stuff. There's so many different things. Plus, you got all the gunplay and stuff like this. Like when you get to the restaurant scene, it goes really out of fucking control. It's like, again, they got the smoke grenades, and the guy in the freaking restaurant breaks out this giant freaking machine gun type of thing. Is blowing people way up like it's Beirut. like the joke later on. It's like Beirut, and there's a new police commander there, Mace Ryan. All these different things. Like, and it's just everything that Brandon Lee's doing inside the thing and all the stuff that's blowing up outside of it. Just insanity, but it's covered so extremely well. The thing we get Brandon Lee versus Al Leong. A thing that definitely trumps what Van Damme did with Al Leong in Death Warrant, which felt a little disappointing. This ain't disappointing. They are definitely like, they're chomping at the bit to make this the absolute best fight sequence in the entire film. Actually, it delivers. They're so good. You just see the quality of their skills on display here, and they're just so much into pumping this up to the next level. Even Brandon Lee was saying, like, you see him go up against other different guys, but now he's going up against someone of equal skill level. Someone's a definite match for him, so it's like it's such a great sequence. All the little things where they're kind of like dodging and blocking, all these different things, like it adds a certain dynamic that it's not just all hits. There's a certain intelligence to the fighters, how they're dealing with the situation and bouncing around the entire thing in a very clever type of way, using the environment to their advantage. Love it. Love the entire sequence. You get all the stuff, again, all the shootouts are all great. All great type of stuff. Bang up so much with the sound design. All the type of stuff hits off so very well. Even though the body hits are a little stock in a certain way, they kind of show off a little bit of age looking back on it now, but I love you get up to the climax. It's Jake Lowe and Tao up there on the Chicago L tracks, those metal rods and everything like that, and then they're swinging stuff around, and the train's coming down. Then they get the electrocution going on. It's just very satisfying stuff. It's like a lot of these late '80s, early '90s action films just knew how to hit it on the money. Didn't have to go super big or super bombastic or whatnot, but they knew how to get some well-rounded characters, cast them very well, and just get some very nice, satisfying action sequences. Knew how to build things up and pay them off. And it's the simplest thing a film needs to do. Build up ideas, build up characters, build scenarios, and pay them off very, very well. And then you can be satisfied, you can be entertained, and it's such a good film. It's not the best action film ever, but it's like it does everything so well and so right. And again, that's another thing that just like I credited Dwight H. Little. He just does things very well. And it's a good thing to have. You need to have those directors like they know how to come in, do the job very well, and make a very entertaining film. And it also has some really nice rock tracks from this band called Hardline, which was formed partially by Neil Sean of Journey when the Journey kind of went on this extended break hiatus thing for a couple of years. Solid tracks, like they sound exactly what you'd have at the time. Bombastic, energetic, fun rock songs that just add a little extra to the film. It has more memorable quality to the film. Like, I like the tracks. They're good tracks. The band's still going on, but it's changed lineups here and there and everything like that. But easy to grab up anywhere. Easy to grab up on any digital platform. You can go ahead and listen to it right away. Good stuff. Just like everything on this film just does everything right. And does it very, very well. And I think this is just we don't have a lot of films to remember Brandon Lee by. And this is definitely one that everyone should, if you haven't seen it already, you definitely need to go check it out. Sadly, there's a Twilight Time Blu-ray that was limited edition about 4 years ago. You're not going to find it unless you're going to pay a lot of money for it. There's a bootleg version out in Spain. Probably not the best idea to go for. There's another one out in Germany. I don't know the quality of it. It's probably the same transfer, but I have no details about it whatsoever. But you can get it up on VOD. You can get the HD version, the same transfer. Looks good, sounds good. It's well worth grabbing. Well worth grabbing, because the old DVD, you don't want to go for that. It's not great. It has some minor featurettes on it, but in terms of the quality of presentation and watching the film, you want to get the HD version. Looks really nice. Sounds really nice. So definitely grab it up on that regard. And like I said, the Christopher Young score is easily available everywhere on digital platforms. So it's like, it's such a good thing going off and researching this thing and watching all these Brandon Lee interviews he did at the time. He did a lot of them. And they're all worth watching because he was such a bright, articulate, and educated young man. You could see everything in how he was brought up, the things he did. He got so many interesting stories on these interviews. Such interesting stuff. In the few years he was with us, just look it up. Brandon Lee interview for Rapid Fire or anything else like that. Just put it in a playlist, listen to it, watch the stuff. He has such fascinating stuff to talk about. He's such a fascinating personality to involve yourself in. With a few films we had, just Showdown Little Tokyo, Rapid Fire, then The Crow were just like a fantastic trilogy of just excellent pieces of work. You should see what he had to offer in all these different roles, building up to such a fantastic, memorable masterpiece of The Crow. Awesome stuff. Just like he was reaching such a pinnacle, and just like such a tragedy what happened to him. But we can enjoy these films because he did such a good piece of work that does leave you wanting more. But the fact is, these are fantastic. I mean, it's really fantastic. I really just like it. If you like all that stuff that again, like Seagal was doing with Out for Justice, Marked for Death, Above the Law, stuff like that, this is right in that wheelhouse of the just modern sort of 90s action film that didn't have a lot of like special effects stuff like that, but had really good martial arts action, good characters, kind of a gritty sensibility, but still had all the right charisma and stuff like that, energy going through the film to make it a good solid 90-minute entertainment ride. Good stuff. I just think it's a really good piece of work. I had sitting on my shelf for a long period of time, just like, yeah, let me check this out. Let me finally put it in, check it out. It's like, I'm not disappointed, obviously. So it's like, such good stuff. I'm not going to ramble on anymore, but this is all the stuff I can give you at this point in time. Hopefully, maybe Fox, Disney, 20th Century Studios, and Disney will kind of maybe give this another life on disc somewhere, but who knows. But right now, go check it out on VOD. Absolutely grab it. Check it out. Have a good, fun time with it. Brandon Lee's wonderful. Powers Boothe, Raymond J. Barry, Kate Hodge. The entire cast. I love the entire cast. I really do an exceptional job throughout the entire film. Great stuff. So guys, thanks so much for checking things out. You go up on the Patreon to support the channel, or you can do the Super Things feature here on YouTube to give a little contribute to the entire channel here and keep things running and all the great stuff. So guys, thank you so extremely much. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.